Hey, you just tuned in for another episode of MixelPix. This is an episode of
Transformers Timewarp.
Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There are new MixelPix episodes every Thursday. Okay, so let's get on with the show. In the previous video, I shared my unboxing of the Generation Toy gift set, GT-6 Duron Drill, their version of Generation 2 Devastator, and reviewed 4 of the 6 individual Constructicons from that set. Mixer Truck, aka Mixmaster, Navi, aka Scavenger, Crane, aka Hook, and Dump Truck, aka Long Haul. In this video, I'll be finishing my review of the individual characters with reviews of GT-01A Scraper, aka Scrapper, and GT-01D Bulldozer, aka Bonecrusher. As a part of these reviews, I'll be doing final scale comparisons between the robot forms of Scrapper and Bonecrusher to 2 of the signature characters from the cartoon in their Takara Tomy masterpiece forms, MP10 Optimus Prime and MP21 Bumblebee. That should be a pretty satisfactory comparison of size. Here's Scraper, aka Scrapper. This is Devastator's left leg. It's pretty substantial. The molding and character paint look good. This is Scraper as he comes out from the gift set box. He's not in his actual vehicle mode as you can see. I'll go ahead and get him transformed into his vehicle mode, and I'll be right back with that. Here's Scraper, aka Scrapper, from the Constructicons, and that's him in his vehicle mode as best as I could do it, with just minimal visual reference from Piao on, or is it Pew? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but that's P-E-A-U-G-H. So check out his channel. He has a transformation video I used as a reference to see what the vehicle should look like. I may not have gotten it all right, but I think maybe the feet here, these are going to be the feet later on, and I think maybe I should have opened up the legs to tab these little tabs into the undercarriage, because I had some rubbing here going on with this little swivel joint on the tires. It wasn't letting the tires move, so I may not have done that 100% correctly, but I got it to work, and the wheels do roll. The bucket ratchets, and that's pretty cool, and it swivels so it can be holding something and then dumping it, and yeah, so that's that. That is Scraper, aka Scrapper, in his vehicle mode. So let's see him in his robot mode. So there you have Scraper, aka Scrapper, and he poses pretty well. I like the way he looks. No issues transforming him here, really. I got it done largely by myself, with a little bit of help on the backpack from Pio, and so I referenced Pio's, and I'm not even probably saying that right, but I'll just start saying pew, like a gunshot, like a cute little gunshot. Pew, pew. So check out Pew's channel at P-E-A-U-G-H. Pew showed a technique for folding the bucket down a little tighter to the back so that it doesn't rise too high above the head as the instructions show. So he had that little tip to give. I'm not sure if I've got it exactly the way he has it, but as you can see, it does pack fairly neatly, fairly square behind him, and doesn't look too bad from really any angle. I mean, what can you expect? It's a construction vehicle that becomes a robot, so there's going to be some junk, and that's fine because that's who Scrapper is. He's this front loader, so I think it looks pretty cool. And let's move on to Bonecrusher, or Generation Toys Bulldozer. And now for the Transformers Timewarp Takara Tomy Masterpiece Scale Comparison Test. Alright, here's Scraper, aka Scrapper, next to Takara Tomy Masterpieces MP10 and MP21, Optimus, and Bumblebee. You can see that he's beefy because of that big scoop that he's got, but he still doesn't hold a candle to the imposing heroic size of MP10. And the spunky diminutive size of MP21 Bumblebee, I think is appropriate to this guy. Even if we straightened him up, I think he's going to look correct in comparison. And yeah, I think that's an appropriate scale. I like it for my collection. And lastly, after the other 5, there's Bulldozer, aka Bonecrusher. Look at that. And they've already got the fists, so it's been confirmed that this has the fists as well as the drills for hands. So you don't have to do the drills for hands if you don't want to. Here's what Bonecrusher, or Generation Toys Bulldozer, looks like directly out of the gift set. You can see that it comes in somewhat combiner mode with the forearm attached and the fist, like Navi or Scavenger did. So we can take that off, like we did with Scavenger, or Navi rather. And the fist folds into this generator or container, whatever it is, and it can be combined in vehicle mode to be a generator as part of the vehicle mode, which I think is a pretty cool way to incorporate the forearm. But I'm going to take that off for now, and there's what Bonecrusher, aka Bulldozer, looks like in this mode, and this combiner straight out of the box mode. So I'll go ahead and transform this into its vehicle mode and be right back. Let me start with the caveat here that I don't know if this is the exactly correct vehicle mode. It looks correct to me for the most part, but and I did have to reference Bobby Skullface for his video to see where these little struts were supposed to go, where they were supposed to attach. And as you can see, it's not really attaching, and it doesn't really attach. It's just supposed to sit in this groove. It doesn't do a good job. If you hear a little frustration in my voice, it's because I think this is the worst out of the bunch. Unfortunately, Bonecrusher, their Bulldozer is good looking, but not very playable. I haven't talked about playability with any of the characters, just about posability. But, you know, I'd like to think that I could transform some of these characters back and forth, hopefully. This thing is just so piecey and so tenuously put together. I mean, things just pop off. The front scoop here, the blade, it's in 4 pieces, and it was constantly coming apart when I was trying to figure out how these struts were supposed to be positioned. And then you can see this arm just came off again. It just tabs into this little hole right here. So it's all friction fit, and it doesn't work. It's not much playability to it. I don't even want to try to move these struts because I'm afraid things will just start popping off. As you can see, that hydraulic right there is off. So I'm definitely not happy with this character in its vehicle mode. It looks good, but definitely leaves something to be desired. These arms here, you know, I guess on a real Bulldozer would be completely straight and at one piece. You know, it wouldn't have a bend or anything to it, but as you can see, this does have a bend. It can have a bend, and it's not really supposed to, I don't think, because these arms, I believe, are supposed to lift the whole plate up the front. So it's a frustrating build. Not really sure if these struts are supposed to be this high or if they're supposed to be riding lower, but you know, it just as much as I liked Navi or Scavenger's scoop on its arm and the articulation that was going on there, the articulation is not very movable on this plate front for the Bulldozer. So this is, aside from dump truck or long haul, is my least favorite so far, because it just doesn't hold the promise of the character and of the vehicle. So otherwise, it looks good. We'll see how it looks in its robot mode. I'm sure it's going to look cool. But like Scavenger, aka Navi, this vehicle suffers from the same lack of good vehicle wheels where the treads are. So they're just hard plastic. They're grooved. They're not rubberized. The front has two separate wheels, it looks like. Two tiny little wheels and nothing in between. And this secondary wheel seems to be sticking some. These wheels barely want to roll. I guess they'll loosen up with time, hopefully. But it's just not a well-constructed wheel in place of tread. So I wish they had done something a little bit different with this. Maybe a rubber wheel on the tread instead. But enough said about that. Enough hate, enough frustration given to this character. Let's see how the character does in vehicle mode. Does in robot mode. Hopefully it's a lot more pleasing and satisfying than it is right now in its vehicle mode. Looks good, just not very friendly to maneuver and play around with. So here's Bulldozer, or Bonecrusher. He poses pretty nicely. I am not a fan of this build. There are just too many floppy parts, too many unsecured parts. This stuff from the front, I don't know. I will go with the caveat that I don't know if I've transformed this 100% correctly, but I'm not sure what else you would do with the Bulldozer plate and struts, aside from securing them somehow behind the arms like this and trying to fashion them into something that looks kind of cool, like wings. But if I'm incorrect, I'll find out in the instructions, or you can leave me a little love note at the bottom telling me that I didn't do it right. But this is not a fun character, not a fun toy. Just these things, if they're supposed to secure someplace, it's not obvious. There's nothing that it tabs to. It's just PC, and it just sits there because it's a default. It just doesn't have any place else to go. And I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. If I'm supposed to close this and fold this back, I guess that's kind of what the illustration is showing here. But I think that's kind of stupid. I mean, the light piping is there for a reason. They wanted it to be able to highlight the eyes. So having this in the way of lights doesn't seem to be doing it any good. So I'm just going to satisfy that need with folding that back there above the head. Yeah, so let's just make this as short as possible. Still interesting to pose. Can look pretty cool. It's got these Bonecrusher's got some of these missiles that come out from where the tread arm was here on the side. So these missiles come out, so it looks like he can launch some stuff from his legs, which is kind of cool. He does look like he's a fighter. He's got some weapons, so that's neat. Posability is interesting. It's okay. It's pretty much on par with everything else. All the other characters, but you can achieve some cool poses, so I can't deny that it looks cool. But again, this swivel up here, it's got a hip swivel, which is cool, like it should, but then it's got this chest swivel because the chest has to turn around for the transformation, but this chest doesn't lock into place. It just sits there. You just have to massage it into the right spot so that it doesn't, so that it's posed the way you want it to be, and don't move it again. So again, it's just not. It leaves something to be desired when it comes to the final fit and finish of both the vehicle mode and the character mode. And now for the Transformers Timewarp Takara Tomy Masterpiece Scale Comparison Test. And the final scale test for the individual Constructicons, Bonecrusher. None of them have failed to fit the MP scale in my opinion. They're not too small and not too large, considering that they can't mass shift larger or smaller like they were able to in the cartoon when they would transform into robot mode or they would transform into the combiner mode of Devastator. The negative aspects of his vehicle and robot modes aside, Bulldozer aka Bonecrusher does scale nicely with Optimus and Bumblebee. So that's it for the individual bots in the GT-6 Duron drill set. Both Scraper and Bulldozer passed the test. Up next, I'll unbox and review the accessories and review the assembled GT-6 Duron drill, complete with the MP scale comparison test, of course. I think you'll find it's worth getting your own version of this if you can. If you have any questions or comments about this set or other sets you'd recommend, please share your thoughts in the comments. This isn't the only set out there for sure. Stay tuned for one final video of the Generation Toy GT-6 Duron drill gift set. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe for more MixelPix videos, and leave me your comments below about what you liked and you didn't like about the video. Until next time, see ya.